Okay, guys, we're live on the air a little bit early. Anybody out there who can admin for me while I'm on the air, let me know. I need 1 or 2 helpers. As usual, my chat is not working, so I would like to direct everyone to Social Stream. It would be nice to have at least one admin to watch the chat and see anything that does pop up in chat, direct them to the Social Stream. My Social Stream is working. Okay, guys, we're live on the air a little bit early. Anybody out there who can admin for me while I'm on the air, let me know. I need 1 or 2 helpers. As usual, my chat is not working, so you can hear me talking to myself. I'm going to turn the sound down. There we go. All right, you can also see here on this easel, I put a piece of paper. So this first thing at the top, we now have a hashtag for my stamps. So if you have bought my stamps or won my stamps, all of those, by the way, orders and wins will be going out hopefully by Monday. The new inventory order is on its way in, and hopefully it comes today or tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. And so I'm hoping to get everything in the mail by Monday. If it comes in Monday, it'll go out shortly thereafter. So, but if you get the stamps and you use the stamps in any projects and you share them anywhere on social media, I sure would appreciate it if you use this hashtag. And if you haven't bought the stamps yet and you want to, here is the address for my Etsy shop. If you go to Etsy and you just search Gina B. Aarons, all one word, you should find my shop. And then if you want to have the address, this is my website at the bottom, and the link to Etsy is on their website. The hashtag will be on there too at some point. I haven't updated it yet this weekend, but I will be doing that. And I'll be showing this again periodically through the broadcast. Hi, Anne-Marie. Stay in the Social Stream, okay, because I can't see the chat at all. Again, you know, as per usual. The chat hates me. I don't know what to say. So I thought while we wait for everyone to come on, I would do a little, maybe a little seascape. I turn the viewfinder around in the camera in case the picture gets shaky. I can see where I'm at. So I've got some of my little watercolor cards. I thought we'd watercolor today. There we go. And you can see, I'll zoom out a little bit. You can see my table. I've got everything around me that I'm going to need, including my iPad, so I can see the Social Stream. And this is this is canvas. So I usually always use either canvas or paper underneath what I'm working on, and I have a lot of painty papers. I have too many. I don't know what to do with them. So I thought I'd switch back to canvas for a while, because with the canvas I can, after it gets nice and painty and inky, I can make it into journal covers or tote bags or something. So, okay, so let's zoom back in and let's work on a little watercolor. I'll show you guys how I did that little seascape. Slow motion, regular time that I did in my big journal. And like the rest of you, hi Jean, how are you? Like the rest of you, I'm all allergy infected. So I've got my water glass right here, and if I cough, if I have to get up and get cough drops, I'll let you guys know, but yeah, it's kind of, I feel icky. All right, let me get the masking fluid. So if you don't have masking fluid and you want to do something like this, you don't have to have masking fluid. I'm going to try not to hit the camera tripod. You could do it with white paint. Just put the, I haven't even taken my meds yet. Let's see. Put the seafoam in the ocean with white paint instead of masking it off with a masking fluid if you don't have masking fluid. And just, yeah, those of you who are online, if you see anybody in the chat, if your chat is working, Anne-Marie, Jean, anybody, if you guys could put something in there periodically for me and let them know to come over to the social stream, because my chat's not working on either computer. I'm signed in on one and not signed in on the other one, and neither one of them is working. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide about where my ocean's going to be on my card. Of course, you could sketch out your seascape if you wanted to do a pencil sketch. When I did the original, I didn't do that. I just took a wild guess at it. So I'm going to use my fine line applicator, and I'm going to just squeeze out a little bit of masking fluid, try to get a nice thin line. When I did it the first time, I did it with a brush, and I got too much masking fluid on. So I switched it to the fine line applicator, which works great. So you can get a nice thin line. And the more you squeeze on the bottle, the more you're going to get. And then they don't get clogged up because they have a little pin that sticks inside the needle tip. So I love that. And yeah, see, Jean, my chat never works for Ustream. I don't know what the deal is. I also put my glossy accents into a needle tip bottle. Okay, let's see. This is going to get loud because I'm going to have to dry it. Hey, Carol, how are you? Normally, I just put the masking fluid on and then walk away and do something else, just so y'all know. Right. Oh, thank you so much, Anne-Marie. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's tell everybody to stay in social stream if we can. And as long as we don't get any mean people, maybe I can get away with not having an admin. So wherever you put the masking fluid is going to keep the paper white and clean and not let the paint go underneath it. I'm going to have to get a cough drop. Hang on, guys. Dang allergies. Okay. Now I'm going to get part of the paper wet. Now I did just go out, and I know if you guys watch my YouTube channel, you saw where I went out to Hobby Lobby looking for stuff for my food journal, and I said they had watercolor kits on sale. I actually went back and bought one, not for the paint at all, but for some of the brushes, and also they had this really cool easel in the box. I needed some like flat wash brushes that I can use with my watercolors that I don't have to worry about them being too crunchy from acrylic paint because I need to get all the paint out. So I got some big flat brushes yesterday, and I got the kit, and the kit actually came with these Royal, it just says Royal watercolor brush, but I got, look at these. And then it came with the smaller one. And it came with these. And then I wanted a brush that was very similar to this one at Michael's, but it was $35. I went down to Hobby Lobby and I got this for less than $10. So I wasn't going to spend that much money on a brush. I never have done that before. So I actually got, I think this one was like $5 and this one was like $9.99 or something like that. They're just nice for getting your paper wet and doing a nice wash on the paper. While walking the pups, not signed in on the phone. Oh, okay. If you're in the area, you should come walk my dog. Poor dog, poor neglected dog. He never gets walked. That would be because he doesn't walk well. He has no manners when he's walking. Okay. So now that I've got the paper wet, and I'm going to let that soak in for a minute, I'm going to get a few colors of blue paint that are on my palette. You can just see the corner of it here. I'm going to get a few wells of blue paint wet. I'm going to use, for the when I do seascapes, I like to keep my ocean more of a turquoise color and my sky more of a cool blue color. So I'm going to use my turquoise paints, and I have Grumbacher turquoise, Daniel Smith phthalo turquoise, and Talon's number 501. They're all shades of turquoise. Different ones. And let's try this one. So is everybody having a good Friday? I hope so. I'm going to start with the darkest of my colors. And I'm going to make a fairly straight line. So when you're doing a seascape of any kind, where the sea meets the sky is a pretty straight line. And also, you don't want that straight line smack in the middle of your canvas or your card or your paper, your art journal page. That's boring. So always have it be in the upper third or the lower third of the canvas. So in this case, I'm going to put it up here a little bit. And pre-wetting the paper ensures that the paint is going to be more attracted to the water, and it's going to naturally want to go where the water is and not go where the paper is dry. It's going to take the easiest path. So, although I got a little blob of water right there, so I'm going to have to try to keep the paint out of there, which is why I'm tilting it a little bit. Okay. Having a can of Carlin cider. I don't know what Carlin cider is, Anne-Marie. It sounds fun, though. Hello, Starwolf. Who is Starwolf? I probably know you, but I don't know that name. So now I'm going to start laying in some of my other colors. This is more of a green turquoise than the blue one that I just used. And you can see it's all just wicking into where I put the water. And then the Talon's 501 is a much lighter color than the others. And then something else that I like to do so that I don't have a piece that's all like one color and one tone is just blot it just a little bit. You can always put paint back. You want to remember when you're working with, oh, Lori Richard, hey! So you want to remember when you're working with watercolor that it's the opposite of acrylic. You want to work light and work your way back towards dark. So now that I took a lot of the dark away, I'm going to go back and I'm going to add a little bit of light. Oh, there's a stray hair on my brush. There we go. I also like to keep more of the green colored turquoise down by where the sand is going to be. And just like when I did the journal page, I'm not intending to fill the whole card up. I want this sort of to be a watery, messy around the edges kind of a seascape. So now before I do anything else, I want to dry this because I don't want the blue to mix with the color that we're going to use for the sand. I also don't want the blue of the ocean to mix with the blue of the sky. So before we put the sand in, let's put some sky in. I already like where that's going though. Alright, I'm going to turn it around. And this time I'm going to use my cooler blue colors. And I have they're all Talons brand colors. 508, 504, and 512. And they're all cool blues. If you want to do more painting, you start thinking of your colors in warm and cool. If you look at the color wheel, there's a side of it that has more warm colors and a side that has more cool colors. So now I'm going to go with the sort of medium blue of the three that I want to use, and I'm going to go right up against the ocean, that line for the ocean. And right here where the ocean bled a little bit, I'm going to just get that wet and scrub it a little bit. I'm also tilting the card so that my sky color doesn't blend with the ocean. If it turns out ugly. You know, I do plenty of stuff that turns out ugly. I just keep trying. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to do the tutorial on the Seascape. I have something else I want to paint too, and if we have time, I'm going to do that. But I know you all liked the Seascape, and I love painting Seascapes, so I thought I'd do one. So that's sort of the medium blue, and then I'm going to come in here with the one that's just slightly darker. So where the sky, the farther away from the earth the sky is, the darker it is, right? Thanks, Anne-Marie. So if you want clouds in the sky, then you would probably want to leave some of this white space or put some masking fluid there. I wouldn't leave it a straight line across like that, because that doesn't look natural. Nature is not straight and even, so. And I have my light color here. Okay, now I'm going to use my rag. And that'll start to give you different tones and shades in your sky. There you go. I like that already, just like that. And you don't have to have fancy watercolors to do this. You can do this with a kid's Crayola watercolor set. That's what I started with, just something, you know, inexpensive. I would try to get one that has at least 12 colors in it, but you all know that I love my paint colors. I'm sorry. I don't know that 12 would be enough for me. Now I'm gonna dry it again, obviously. Okay. So I like to dry the different layers of colors in between so that when I put the next layer of color on, I don't get too much blending. You're still going to get a little bit because this is watercolor, but you can control how much to a certain extent if you do a little bit of drying in between. And this is what I meant about not filling up the space and leaving the edges a little bit ragged and uneven. I really like the way that looks. It looks like an old painting on an old tattered piece of paper, and I like the way that looks. Somebody asked me why in my watercolor sketch journal I draw a box around the piece and I put the lines on there and the little dots and arrows. That's because I want it to kind of look like field notes sketchbook or blueprint kind of style. On these little postcards, you don't have to do that. You could just do a little seascape. But I like the way that looks, and I like the splattery, grungy look that I do in that book. I don't know that we'll do that on this, but I like the way that looks. Okay, so now we're going to do sand, and for the sand, let's see. For the sand, I think I used Talons 374, number 231, and number 227, which are all kind of beigey, creamy, goldeny colors. And I also think I used a little bit of tiger's eye. Now I'm guessing at this because I haven't looked at. I did blog about the colors. If you go to my website on my blog page, I did blog about the colors. I have this color called tiger's eye. I gotta find it. Here it is, over here. So by Daniel Smith, it's called Tiger's Eye. I'll show you the sample of it. So this is Tiger's Eye right here. Whoops, where we are. It's this really dark goldeny brown color. Thank you guys. Yeah, any of you that are online right now, if there's anybody in the chat asking questions, I can't see the chat and I don't have any admins today. So if you guys could tell them to come over to Social Stream because I can't see what they're typing. Okay, so I'm going to start with my lighter, like goldeny tan colors, and I'm going to start to put some sand dunes in on either side. And the crunching you hear is my cough drop. And this is the lightest of the colors. And I'm going to use this in place of getting it wet with just plain water. I was just sitting on the beach and watercoloring. That's like the best thing. Okay, so then I'm going to go to my next darkest color, which is more goldeny colored. And then I'm going to go to the darkest of these colors. Hi, Meridel. And then I'm going to blot again. And yes, I use cloth rags to blot. It's cheaper. I don't have a good other reason for that. It's just cheaper. So I do a lot of adding and taking away when I'm watercoloring. I'm going to go over to the Tiger's Eye and add some really dark tones. Be careful with this color if you get this color because it's really dark. Because the paper is wet, it's going to just sort of, I'm going to let it go where it wants. Any imperfections you have in where you're putting your sand dunes, maybe grass needs to be there. There's always ways to fix anything you might perceive as an error or a mistake. Okay, before we do anything else, I'm going to dry that again. And I'm going to go in with my turquoisey green color, which is the phthalo turquoise. There we go. Oh. So I'm going in with the phthalo turquoise again. I think you guys lost me there for a second. I don't use salt on the sand, but you definitely can. I've done that plenty of times when I'm doing a bigger piece. I will use salt on the sand and then let it dry and go away and do something else. That gives it a really fun look. So I'm just where I want the sort of water and sand to sort of meet. I want to blend the colors a little bit, so I added a little bit of the turquoise green. You definitely could add sand to that. The Tiger's Eye Genuine is a color of paint because of the pigments that it granulates on the page. Can you see that? It just naturally does that. But definitely you could put sand on there. I've done that. You get a really fun look. And you can do art journal backgrounds with the sand. I'm going to dry it again. You can see this isn't the best watercolor paper because it's curly, and I didn't tape it down to a board or anything. I almost never do that because I'm lazy. Hey, Vicky. Okay, so now we're going to do some grass, and I'm going to pick some green colors. I'm going to use Hooker's Green, Winsor Newton Hooker's Green. I think I used that one last time. Again, the colors are on my blog page on my website. I'm going to use Talent 617, which is kind of a limey, lemony green. And then Winsor Newton Sap Green. Those are all, I think, all the colors I used before. And the brush I'm going to use is a fun brush. It's Ashley. I have a couple of them. They look like this. These are nail art brushes for painting your fingernails, which I obviously don't do. But they make great brushes for this kind of line work, and they're not real expensive. You can get them at any beauty supply store or online at Amazon. So I'm going to use the red one. And I'm going to start with the Hooker's Green. And just, you want to start at the bottom and work your way up, and just as you're moving up, lift up the brush, and you just want to do a quick line. Don't make all your hair go in a straight line in the same direction. It's not going to look like grass, your hair. Your grass would go in the same direction, in the same line, you know, in a row. It's not going to look like grass, it's going to look like hair follicles. So, and the trick is to just layer your colors. And the more grass you put on, the more interesting it's going to look. And with this kind of a piece, you're not looking to fill up the whole thing with grass. That's not what this little painting's about. And I didn't in the big journal page either. Yeah, the nail brushes, you can get them on Amazon. They are not expensive. I got the little set of 3, and I think it was like $2 because I wanted to try them. I will definitely be getting more of them. But I have a sister who has a cosmetology license, so I might see if she can get me some. Okay, so before I put more grass on, and this is the same thing I did with the other one, I want to take the masking fluid off. So I need to dry that paint I just put on there. Hard to walk with 2 pups and look at your phone. Well, yeah, you don't want to trip and fall, because that's totally something I would do. Okay. I gotta get my rubber cement eraser. Hang on. Forget which drawer it's in. There it is. Okay. Yeah, the grass totally sets it off. It's the best thing about this painting. It really makes it come to life. So then I'm using this rubber cement eraser to pull off the masking fluid. And you're left with these really white lines on here that really just make it look like seafoam. And I'll show you how to like make them less straight and more natural looking in a minute. And Meridel, yeah, you should be able to get them at Sally Beauty Supply. So that was our dark green. So now I'm going to actually go in with a lighter green, which is Talon's 617. sometimes I tell my students too that what color you make your grass might depend on where you live. And, you know, I'm in California and everything, right now everything's brown, despite the little bit of rain we've gotten. Things are not alive. Or they won't be for long anyway. Oh, see what I did? I got a drop of paint right in the ocean. There we go. So you just catch it right away and just blot it with a towel. And then now I'm going to go in with my other color of green, which is the sap green. Need some more water in there. Oh, there it is. I've never taken a watercolor lesson, so I have been told, I guess I kind of have my own unique style. I don't believe in should-haves or must-dos. Just do what, you know, makes you happy. And just play. I started out just doing just watercolor doodles. Drawing doodles with pen and then watercoloring them in. And, you know, take one of your darker greens and just, you know, have a couple of, you know, blades of grass right at the front, right before you finish. Whoops. See, it's a cute postcard. Thanks, Meridel. Yeah, again, anybody who's joining us, if you see people in the chat, I can't see the chat as usual, so ask them to post in the social stream. I know that probably means it goes to like Facebook and all that. I don't care. I don't know if you guys care. I don't care. You will notice I turned off the commercials. That drove everybody crazy last week. Okay, and I saw that, Anne-Marie, I'm rubbish at watercolor. So I was too when I started, but start with simple shapes. I think one of my first doodles was just a simple, you know, like kindergartner's flower. And just work on shading simple shapes. And practice, that's all it takes. So now I'm going to go in with my round brush, but with just water and nothing else. If I need to, I'm going to grab a little bit of this here. And I'm going to just get this wet. And I'm going to make parts of these white lines from the masking fluid just a little bit less white by pushing the paint that's on here up into the line a little bit. Just like that. And then the last thing that I did was I took my sparkly palette and I used the Pearl White, which is one of my homemade colors with Pearl X powder. And then I used, I think I used the Duo Blue Green. And I just went in a little bit with the this is the pearl, where those white caps are, and a little bit down here where like the ocean is washing up onto the shore. You make me want to play with watercolors. I've been avoiding them somewhat. I think that you guys should play with watercolors. They're my favorite. And your mom should play with the watercolors. Catherine. Thank you, Meridel. So then I went in with the blue pearly color, and I put some of that in too. One year I did a bunch of these little seascapes in acrylic for coworkers for Christmas. I did, I think, I don't know, 17 of them or something. I think so too. I think acrylic watercolor is much easier for me. So there you go. It's a little seascape. This would be a great little gift or a postcard. You could frame it. You could, you know, write a note on the back and stick it in the mail. These little cards are fun to practice on, and they're less intimidating than doing a bigger piece or a full page. So I would definitely recommend getting either a small pad of watercolor paper or cutting up some bigger sheets. These are about 4 by 6. Thank you. Paper Pusher Gal. I don't know what your real name is, but thank you. You all have funny names. You all can decide. Yeah, I did 17. And it's on it. There is a video on it on my YouTube channel, and it was more than before I got hurt at work. So maybe 2012. But there is a mini seascape. I don't know how many I did on camera, but I know I remember I did 17. What kind of watercolor are, let's see, wait, where is that? Okay, so I have, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Hopefully you guys won't get dizzy. So I'm going to put this right here. Here are my 2 main watercolor palettes. This top one is the sparkly one that I made with the twinkling H2Os and the homemade twinkling H2Os, and this is the one I use when I add the little sparkles and shimmers to my paintings. This is my main watercolor palette, and if you have a commercial, it might be because of something on your channel, but it shouldn't be for anything on my channel because mine should be commercial free. Anyway, this is my main watercolor palette. It's mainly Daniel Smith watercolors, but I do have some Van Gogh, some Grumbacher, some Winsor Newton, and Talons. I did have a large Talons watercolor set, and it was a cake set, and I popped the cakes out and I stuck them in these wells. And then I did this color chart, so I have a little sample. Do they work in an art journal as a good medium? The watercolor paints, they do. You just need to be mindful of a couple of things. One is the paper you're using. So when you're watercoloring in a journal, you really want a journal that's made out of watercolor paper. The Delusions journal, which you all know I love, does not watercolor well. And I tend to watercolor and do a lot of, let me move this out of the way and I'll show you, like a scrubbing motion. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll notice that when I watercolor, I do a lot of this. And scrubbing the paint in and pushing it around, and that's hard on the paper. And the Delusions paper does not hold up well to that. So you really want to use watercolor paper. And you also want to remember that the media is water reactive. So anything anything you go over it with is going to make the paint react. So, but I, as you know, work in this other journal here. Is mainly watercolor. And I love that. So, and it's made up of watercolor paper. So yeah, I do think it's a good medium for art journaling. Holy cow, that's a huge palette. I hate to tell you guys, I have one more of them. Let me see. Okay, this is the lesser used of my 3 palettes, and this is the gouache palette. So gouache is still a watercolor paint, but it's more of an opaque paint. And this is mainly Pelican gouache and Reeves. In fact, I think it's all Reeves and Pelican. And I have 4 colors that don't fit, so they're in here, and then I have some white. These round palettes on the turntables are from Robax. If you type Robax art palette, R-O-B-A-X, they will pop up. And the owner is very, very nice. And these are not inexpensive, these ones, but I bought the really big ones. They do have smaller ones. I love the fact that they turn like this, especially in my workspace. This is perfect for me. And he's working on one that I'm hoping he can figure out for my Inktense blocks, because that would be really handy. Okay, let me see. Let me catch up on questions. Yeah, okay, so if you gesso the pages when you're working, any book you're working in before you watercolor, then you're better off. When I work in my Delusions journal with watercolor or water-based media, I usually either gesso the page or I use a watercolor ground, which is basically gesso for watercolor. You can use regular gesso. Grounds are better, but if you have nothing else, use regular gesso. Love that art journal. This one. Yeah, this one I made, and this is one that I made in my bookbinding course that is on Crazy Island University. So there is a class for this. It's a hardcover journal. It's completely all handmade, and it's filled with watercolor paper. These were big sheets. I think they were like 20 by 24 or 24 by 36, and I cut them down into pages for this journal, and then the leftovers became these cards. The little bit that I had to cut off the end. I think I have watercolor envy. I love watercolor. When I first started art journaling, I started doing it with watercolor. And I encourage every one of you to just play with your water media. I think it's a great idea. So here, as I said in the beginning, is maybe let's see if you can prop this up on something. Maybe that'll work. Okay, so I now have my own hashtag that's a registered hashtag so that I can quickly go to one website and do an internet search and see where it's being used. But if you've bought my stamps or you do any artwork with my stamps, please use the hashtag. I'd love to see them on social media, see what you're doing. If you want to buy the stamps or anything else that I've made, including a few of the smaller handmade journals, there's a smaller one of these that I made with some of the scraps. I think it's filled with mixed media paper. It might not be filled with watercolor paper, but it's done with the same kind of cover. It needs to be listed on Etsy. I haven't done that yet. But here's my Etsy shop. And then this is my website where you can find the blog that has some of the details about paint color. In the Seascape I did in this book. Now in the Seascape in the book I put a little bit of a hint of a sunset here, and then I dragged some of that yellow goldeny color into the water, because remember, if you're going to do that, whatever's above the water would be reflected in the water. So if you put a sunset, then you want to drag a little bit of that yellow color into the water and distort the shape. If you have birds flying overhead, then you want to make sure there's a reflection of the birds in the water. Now I have to find that class. Yeah, there should be a bookbinding course. It should be right on Crazy Island University. It's not real expensive. And I show you how to make a few different journals, by the way. I forgot to go get my reference folder picture before I turned the camera on. I thought we'd try painting a little ladybug that I saw on Pinterest. I love to use Pinterest for inspiration. So it's sticking in the printer in the other office because we have his and hers offices. And my printer's not hooked up in here right now. So I'll be right back. Hang on. Sorry guys, my daughter, who is a photographer and advertising major, I've talked her into, or bribed her into, being my temporary admin, or not admin, intern. And so she's photographing all of my old arts and crafts show product right now. Her and her boyfriend, I guess. I don't know if he's helping her. She was going to try to get him to help her. They're photographing all of it. So that I can get it listed up on Etsy, because I have a bunch of stuff. I'm even going to put some stuff in a section I just created today called Bargain Bin. And there's all kinds of things. So anyway, okay. Are we ready? How many paintbrushes in Gina's pail? Oh my goodness. I don't know. I've never counted them. That's just one pail, Merdo. I have 6, 7 more. These are just the watercolor brushes. At least 14. I think there's more than that. Would you like me to count them? I think there's probably 14 water brushes like this in here. I just bought a bunch more, so. Alright, so I was on Pinterest earlier. And I have to do Monday's YouTube video, but I thought maybe I would do it here in the live stream and then just upload all this live stream footage over the weekend. But I found, and the color is obviously going out on that printer over there, but I found this cute watercolor sketch of a ladybug I thought I would try. I love going to Pinterest for inspiration, and I just type in like watercolor sketch and see what pops up. Or if I have an idea, like I want to do... well, like for instance, one of the ones I want to do at some point is an elephant. So I did watercolor sketch elephant, and a bunch of things came up. And so then I saved those and pinned them to my board. You guys can find me on Pinterest and follow me and follow my board and see what I'm pinning. And that'll give you a clue about some of the things I'm thinking of working on. Looks like 30 to me. Do you want me to count them? Oh boy, you're all guessing now. Okay, hold on. Let's find out. 22, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Because, you know, a girl never has enough paintbrushes, right? It's like not having enough shoes, right? I don't really have lots of shoes. I have lots of paintbrushes. Because I pretty much live in flip-flops. And they're always like in pails like this. Like my watercolor brushes live in this little blue pail. And now I can't really buy any more because this little pail's full. Unless I ruin one. My acrylic brushes are in these. And this is from Target. And this is a silverware caddy. And they usually have these like in the spring and summer. And so I have 2 of these filled with acrylic brushes. Yeah, I like brushes and paint. And then I just got some of these, and they're so pretty I haven't even used them yet. These are the Princeton Select brushes. So they're in this jar. And then I have these. This is my dirty brush jar. I've had it for a very long time. It's really gross. Paintbrushes, then shoes. Yeah, I live in flip-flops and sneakers, so, you know, every now and then I put on a pair of high heels, but not too often. They hurt my feet. Okay, and my flip-flops are usually from, like, the sale bin. Because I'd rather spend my money on brushes and paint. So let's see what we can do about this ladybug, shall we? Unless you guys would like me to paint something else. So this is the journal I made, and it's filled with watercolor paper. And this is the one that I've been asked about recently. Yeah, the caddy is from Target. It's the silverware caddy. They have them like every spring or summer. And I love that it revolves. Anyway, I love making it look sort of blueprinty and field notes kind of look in the book. That's what I wanted for this book when I started painting it at the beginning of the year. Here's the seascape that I did in here. And you can see where I put a little bit of a yellow golden color here. And then I dragged it into the ocean. And on this one, of course, since it was in this book, I outlined it like a blueprint, and then I did some splattering and rubber. It already had rubber stamping on it from this page, so I didn't have to add any rubber stamps around the edge. So now we're going to just turn the page, and I want to try to do this ladybug. Most of my watercolor brushes are either synthetic or assorted hair. This one's synthetic, I think. I really like, this one's a little bit crunchy, but this is the one that came in the kit with that new easel I just got that I was telling you guys about. I'll show you. I can show you that in a minute if you want to see it. Again, those of you who didn't see it. I really like a soft brush. Now this is one of the two I got to use as a water wash brush, and this is actually an acrylic brush, but you can use most acrylic brushes for watercolor. It's nice, soft bristle brush. You want to really, when you're buying brushes, like the main thing you want to, whether you're using it for acrylic or watercolor, you want to be able to get at the bristles and do this to it and play with it. I really like a nice soft brush, and you really want a brush that the hairs aren't going to come out. So you want to really play with the bristles and make sure that you're not getting any of the hairs come off in your hand. Yeah, the caddy was great. I used to be a merchandiser for American Greetings and an installation coordinator for them, and I was working an account one day. Target account was one of the accounts I took care of, and I was done for the day, and after I clocked out, I was getting some stuff at the store I needed, and I walked around a corner and saw these caddies, and they have them at least once a year, usually in the spring or summer when the picnic stuff starts coming out, so look for them. You could also look at the Goodwill. But it's a silverware caddy. I've seen lots of different variations of them, but they had something like it at Hobby Lobby recently when I was there, but I don't think it had the turntable thing at the bottom. This is the one one of the two I just got from Hobby Lobby. It's a Master's Touch 3-inch wide flat brush. Hey, Patty! Patty Tolly Parrish. And I think this is just a synthetic bristle, but again, I really like for watercolor especially, I like my bristles to be nice and soft. And this is a nice soft brush. Most of my brushes are synthetic. I have a few that are real, or they're assorted. But if you start getting into the really fine, like sable brushes and all that kind of stuff, they're really expensive. And, yeah. Usually not in my budget. File folder journal made. So the file folder journal, I've been asked about that one so much. Let me get it for you. It's this one. This is my collage journal. And this was gifted to me by a friend, and it's made out of file folders with a front and back cover, and the whole thing is Coptic bound. So she made it for me following a lesson from Sea Lemon on YouTube. Sea Lemon has a really great Coptic stitch tutorial on YouTube, and she followed her directions and made me this journal. And it's just full of file folders. And the file folder paper is very similar to what's in the Delusions journal, and it's really great for doing inky things on or collage, and this is a great journal for doing collage in. You just want to make sure that because it's collage and because you're working on a file folder that you don't use real wet glue. the wetter the glue, the more likely you are to have trouble with the file folders warping and the collage images buckling and wrinkling. So that's why you see me when I'm collaging, I use a Yoo-Hoo glue stick. Okay, should we try to make our ladybug? So this is the ladybug picture that it doesn't actually look like that on Pinterest. It's actually a lot more green, but obviously my husband's printer is running out of ink. So I always start out with a pencil sketch. At least when I'm watercoloring. When I'm doing acrylic painting, I don't always sketch anything, but... Okay. And because I have no admin help, I'm going to try to do this and... No, the file folders are in one piece, and they're I don't know if you can you see that? They're all in one piece. They're still folded, just the way they came out of the box. My friend Sarah Whitney made this for me. Those of you who are in Crazy Island family probably have seen her post on there occasionally. She made this for me. And the front and back covers are covered with duct tape. Donna, how come you can't see me? Yeah, Patty, we got to plan this better. So, because I didn't know you were going to do it either, but that's okay. We'll work it out. Maybe I can go on a little earlier or something. Anyway, she covered him with duct tape, and that's great and all, but the duct tape kind of sticks to this first collage image, so I have this piece of deli paper here in the front. Can the rest of you, I'm assuming, can see me. Donna can't see me. I don't know why that is. Alright, so first I'm going to draw my ladybug. I'm not going to draw all the details in, but I'm going to give myself a sketch to work with. And I'm just going to copy the shapes that I see in the inspiration photo. Don't freak yourself out about being able to draw or not draw. Just copy the shapes and use a light pencil sketch. You know, no digging any holes to China with a pencil. We're doing a light pencil sketch so that we have a guide for the paint. And we don't mind if it shows a little bit, but we don't want it to be, we want the paint to be the focus, not the pencil sketches. You can see me good. You should see my hands. My iPad and paint palette. You should see my hands. You should see the iPad too, but I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing with the sketch. I moved my water out of the way. This book is big. There we go. So that's the leaf that's in the inspiration photo. So now I'm going to put the butterfly. I'm going to try to keep my hand out of the way as much as I can for the sketching part, but we'll see how that works or doesn't work. So first I'm going to just do the shape of the ladybug, so basically a circle. I'm just doing light pencil, sketchy pencil lines. I like the position of the ladybug on this. am going to draw in a couple of spots where there's like white spots around the ladybug here. Now I'm too close. Okay. Let's see. There we go. So there's our just quick sketch. Okay. So then, because this is my watercolor sketch journal and I like things to be blueprinty or field note like, I'm going to draw my marks around the edge. Okay. And then I'm going to take a black pen, one that's waterproof. And I'm going to put in my black marks that I always put in around the edge. Okay. And then we're going to dry that pen because when we start watercoloring, I can't guarantee myself that I won't get water on there and I don't want the pen to run. Okay. Then I'm going to keep this over here as a kind of a reference, a guide, and I'm going to start with green. Let's see. I'm running out of room. Okay. So I'm going to start with a light green, a lighter color of green. I think I'm going to start with the sap green that we used before. And probably a lot of water. And I want to just give it kind of a wash. Oh, it helps if my water's not blue. I'll use a different thing of water. Yeah, Meridel, I like the blueprinty marks. I find myself having trouble not doing them now. That was a Pentel gel roller for fabric. It's permanent when dry and it doesn't smudge. It's waterproof and no smear, and it says Pentel Jelly Roller for fabric. Works great on paper. Okay, Meridel, I love the way you paint and draw, so I think you're doing just fine. So this, I'm just going around and putting in some sap green and like a light wash, and I'm going to do a little bit of blotting. Just a light wash of green. Now I may drag some of that green out so it's not a perfect square. Any of you that are on, if you see somebody over in chat, remind them that I can't see them for me. That would be great. Because, you know, my chat never works. Patty is a sweetheart. She tried to help me. So many people have tried to help me with the chat. I still can't figure it out. I do have a couple of friends who are techie people. I need to, like, invite them over and feed them or something so they help me. Okay, so now before I do any drying, I want to shade my leaf. So I'm going to go in with, what color? I think Hooker's green. And up here where the leaf would be folded. This is hot press watercolor paper, yeah. And I'm going to just use the brush, a little bit of water on the brush to push the paint around, and I'm also going to blot it with my rag. Okay, and then I like that. And there's a shadow up underneath the bug. Yeah, my chat never works. Popping out the window doesn't seem to help, just so y'all know. I've tried that. And it's all my devices, so I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. I'm so bad with computers. I can paint you a pretty picture, though. I suck with computers. In fact, I think this is Fabriano hot press watercolor paper, just in case somebody asks me. I bought a bunch for a class that I took, and I had some left over. I got it from, where did I get it from? Dick Blick. Okay, so I want to continue to work on my leaf, and I have a different color of sap green from a different manufacturer. And this one is Daniel Smith. The first one was Winsor Newton, and they're slightly different colors. I'm sorry, not Winsor Newton. Winsor Newton Sap Green was the first one I used. This is Daniel Smith. And see, it's a different color. It's a much more pigmented paint. You'll take the pretty pictures. Thanks, Meridel. Yeah, because I suck with computers. I can merchandise the greeting card department in your store. I can, if I could, well, I don't know if I could still do it, but I could make you a pair of eyeglasses. I can paint you a pretty picture. Suck with computers. I like that. I'm gonna try to do this without like drawing in. Normally I draw in lots of black lines, y'all know that, and I'm gonna actually try to do that. Do this one without drawing in any black lines. We'll see how it works. Oh, you're on your Nook. Sometimes when I'm on my Kindle, my YouTube apps and stuff don't work as well as on my iPad. I want to add something. I'm going to go wild and crazy. I really like, even with my watercolors, highlighting and shading with a crazy wild color. And I think in this case, we're going to go back to our Tiger's Eye Genuine. And I actually think I grabbed that with that brush. I think I want a smaller brush. Yeah, one with a littler point. Okay, so right up underneath here where the edge of the leaf is, I'm going to put this dark goldeny color, the Tiger's Eye Genuine. This is a Daniel Smith color. And around the edge of the leaf. Just darken up the edge and, you know, outline it with paint instead of with marker or pen. Okay. And underneath the Ladybug, I'm going to add some of this color. And then just get it wet just a little bit. You can always add more, but it's really hard to take it away with watercolor. So just take it real easy on the color and then spread it out with some, blend it with some water, and then if you need to, you can go back and add some more. Have a rag or a paper towel handy for those instances if you do get too much on there, and you can try to blot it out right away. Put some extra water on there. So that's, I just outlined the leaf with the Tiger's Eye Genuine, and I'm just blending it now with water. My greens, let's see. The nice thing about having this palette is you can just quickly turn it around to get to the color on the other side that you need. So there's the leaf. That's looking pretty good. I like that. And I didn't use any black pen this time. Now we have to work on the ladybug. Alright, so I'm going to dry this first, though. I don't want all the greens and browns to mix with the reds and the ladybug. Have I seen Dina Wakely? Paints with the fine liner tip. Yeah, you know, and Claudia, I know, ordered them. I have seen her. I haven't ordered them yet. But yeah, I love her paints to begin with, so that fine liner tip looks really interesting. So first, because I said before that when you're working with watercolors, you want to start with the lighter colors and work your way darker. So we are going to start with kind of an orangey color. The question is which one, because I have a lot of choices. I think I want to do Quinacridone Sienna, which is a Daniel Smith, and it's a really pretty orange color. I'm not going to get the ladybug wet because I don't want this color to like bleed everywhere into the green. I want to be able to sort of control where it's going to go. And right here in the inspiration photo, her shell is lighter, and there's actually 2 white spots. So I'm going to put the orange there. I'm glancing over at the photo as I'm doing it. And I'm using this small brush, and I'm going to just outline her with the orange paint on the dry paper, and that'll keep my line really crisp and clean. You missed my answer, the ad came on. To the fine liner pens. So yes, I've seen the fine liner pens. I don't have them yet. I haven't ordered them. I know Claudia has. I am really attracted to maybe getting a few of them and giving them a try. And yes, Jean, I can see that social stream post that you just did. So for those of you who missed it, that was some Daniel Smith Quinacridone Sienna, which is this really pretty orangey red color. And then I'm going to go in with, I think I want to go in with a coral. I have quinacridone coral, which is a really pretty orangey, more red color. And again, I'm going to go in on dry paper with this little tiny brush with this good point on it, so that I can get a crisp line around the edge of our ladybug's back. Oh, good. I signed up for the homemade journaling class. Yeah, I really like making homemade journals. I like receiving them, I like making them, and I really only like a few store-bought ones, so I usually always am working in one of the store-bought ones that I favorite or a homemade one. And I love making junk journals, but then my problem is I love it so much I don't want to do anything in it. I don't know if any of the rest of you have that problem. So this is Daniel Smith Quinacridone Coral. And I'm just going around the outside of the ladybug's shell. And then I'm going to grab some water and I'm going to just blend it in and push the paint around. Oh, Catherine, you're not getting me at all now? We have times like that here. My Wi-Fi just goes completely haywire. Alright, so I like that. And it better not go haywire right now, because like the husband's the techie person in the family. He's not home. Alright, so now for this part of the ladybug, which is really, even in the original picture on Pinterest, was really dark. Yeah, see, Anne-Marie, I make these really beautiful junk journals that I love, like the one I made from the Carlo's Bakery box, and I love that journal, and someday I'll figure out what to put in it, but I just love it. I don't know what to do with it now. I'm going to use probably some Payne's Gray. I have Winsor Newton Ivory Black, and a couple colors of gray in Talons, number 700 and number 704. So I think I'm going to go back and forth between all of them. The Payne's Gray being the darkest, actually, of all of them. And maybe because it's a Daniel Smith color, the Daniel Smith watercolors seem to be a lot more pigmented. So I'm going to start with the lightest one, because remember I said we work light and work our way darker. And I'm going to use this darker, this lighter one too, in here. I put it in the wrong place. Did you see that? I'm going to avoid some of these areas where I know I kind of sketched these funny shapes in because they were, they're left white in the original inspiration photo that I found on Pinterest. The original watercolor sketch painting that someone else did, and I like the way it looks, so I don't want to copy it exactly, but I'm going to go into my darker one. That was a lot of that color. I haven't ever seen watercolor paper sold in a big roll, Meridel. Then I would maybe have to buy one. I might need to look at that the next time I'm at the fine art store. There's a really great one in Santa Cruz, California. Palace Art and Office Supply. Not Pacific, Palace. So now I'm just going in with this darker shade and I'm just sketching out and shading the shapes of our ladybug's head. I think that's a great way to buy watercolor paper to make journals with. Just make sure that you buy like the heaviest paper you can afford. When I bought my easel that I got on clearance, which is, oh wait, this one, which is really great, like flat easel, and it sits on a table, which works great in my studio. I can tape a piece of paper to it and I can work at the table here when I don't have the camera on. And it came with a pad of paper, but the pad of paper is only 108 pounds. And it's very thin. Where is it? I don't know how good it would be to watercolor on. It's a Royal Langnickel. And it's not white either. It's this funny gray color. It feels interesting. I think it would make good collage paper, but yeah, I don't know. So I would get heavyweight watercolor paper. I like hot press. Oh, yay! I used hers in a YouTube video I did recently. I love Patty's stamps, especially the new set she came out with the little symbols. I just had it out the other day. I don't know where it is right now, but she came out with a, oh, maybe it's in here. This set here. I have this of Patty's stamps. I love that set. It's fabulous. And I'm going to have to go back and watch the recording of her Ustream. My paint caddy. Which paint caddy are you talking about? I have so many paint caddies. Okay, so I'm going to keep working with my Ladybug here while I'm watching the social stream, and you guys tell me what paint caddy you're talking about. Fairy floss. So that is the lightest shade of gray, and then the second darkest one. Now I'm going to go in with the ivory black. And I'm going to just keep working my colors. And blending them by adding some water. And Meridel, I'm going to have to, you got that roll of paper at Michael's? I'm going to have to look. I have to go tomorrow. And I'm working with some students. Oh, the big paint caddy. It's from Robax.com. They have a whole page of different kinds of paint palettes, different really cool ones. And the guy that owns the company is really nice. I asked him if he could see if he could figure out how to make one for my Inktense blocks, so he's working on it. Yeah, this one. That's from Robax. Hobby Lobby. Cost me $30. Oh, Hobby Lobby. Okay, I like Hobby Lobby. We have one not too far from here. So this is the Payne's Gray now. No, Robax. If you go to Google search and you type in Robax palettes, it'll come right up. He has a whole page of artist paint palettes, different kinds, different configurations. Lots of them are round, and he has the Lazy Susan turntable that you can get to go in there. They come with a lid. I almost never use the lid, but they do come with a lid. And they come with, if you get the kit, it's like a kit. And it comes with the lid, it comes with this part, and it comes with the Lazy Susan, and it comes with some mixing trays. They look like this. Fits in here. I never use it that way, but that's how it fits. I'm going to let his face dry a little bit. I'm going to put some spots on his back. Yeah, most of the ones I found did not turn, and I really wanted one that turned, especially for my workspace. I thought that was going to work really well for me, and I was right. They also aren't all as big as this one. This one holds a lot of paint. I want to say 48 colors, but it actually might be 54. I don't remember. This is the 15-inch one. That I do know. It's the 15-inch one. So now I'm adding spots to the back of our ladybug. I think he does ship to Australia because if I'm not mistaken, Jane Davenport has one of these. That's where I first saw it from. I think it was on her blog. And she didn't really say where she got it from, so then I had to find out. Which I did. Because I loved it. Okay, so that was the Payne's Gray that I put the spots in, but now I want to do a little shading on our ladybug's shell. And I don't necessarily want to do it with the same color, so I think I'm going to use the Ivory Black. And then put a little bit and then water. And I'm dipping my paintbrush in the water and then I'm just kind of tapping it off on my rag so it's not sopping wet, it's just damp. And see, there I go with the scrubbing thing again. That's why you need to have watercolor paper. See, it wasn't as big. Yeah, it wasn't as big. The ones that I've found in the art supply stores are just not as big, and this one was really big. I could get it to hold all the colors I needed it to hold, and it turned around. So it's funny, you know, I decided to do these live Ustreams on Fridays because nobody's home during the day, and I'm just here doing art. And the last 2 Fridays there have been people home. But that's okay. Right now my daughter's doing that photography for me, so I can't complain. So now I'm just adding some shadows to our ladybug shell, and I'm using Ivory Black. There you go. And I'm just putting a little bit on, not too much, and before it dries, I'm just going in there with some water and blending it just a little bit. I am to the point now, though, where I need to see the original. Patty's channel. Oh, tell Patty I said thank you, AJ, please, profusely. She's such a sweetheart, and I do call her the queen of the jelly plates because She does things that the jelly prints I'll never be able to accomplish. I did briefly catch last week when I think it was last week, she was jelly printing on t-shirts. And I've got to go back and watch that because I didn't get to watch the whole thing. But yeah, I'm like, oh, I want to try that. Let's see. I'll be right back there. Let's see. I'm going to my Pinterest board. So right now I can't see your social stream, so hang on. I'll be back in a minute. I need to find... There we go. And Ladybug. Okay. So I want to do some more here. Oops. Okay. So the other thing that's great about having this book be sort of a field notes kind of journals, if I get marks on the opposite page, it doesn't really matter. Because it's not supposed to be perfect and pristine. So now I'm just going to continue going into here. Shading my Ladybug's face. And that's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff on my board, and I had a teacher, actually I'm taking another class with her. Her name is Pauline Agnew, and she's very into finding inspiration on Pinterest. And I had a Pinterest before I met Pauline, but I didn't really do anything with it until I met Pauline. And yeah, it's a great place to get inspiration for artwork. Now I just got some paint where I don't want it, so I'm going to get it wet. My rag is getting a little dirty, that might be why I did that. And I'm going to just blot it a little bit. And then I'm going to take my brush and just blend it out just a little bit. That's pretty good. I actually really like that Ladybug. It doesn't necessarily look a whole bunch like the photo, and I'm really trying hard not to outline it with black pen. Really? That's hard. It's hard. I like to outline them with black pen. It's hard to like not do that. I didn't realize how hard that was going to be for me to do. But you know, it's good to try something different. And you know, you're using that photo that's on Pinterest as inspiration. You're not intending to copy it. You want to do your version. Even if you copied something I did, I want to see your version of it. I don't want to see a duplicate of what I did. So it should, your art piece should have your voice, not my voice. Always it should have your voice. And nobody has to like that voice except you. It's none of their business. All right. Okay, now it's time to do some stamping and some fun things around the edge. All right. Let's see. I don't know if I want to add more color around the edges. Usually I add more color. Maybe some yellow. I have a Hansa yellow. It's a nice lemony yellow. Let's use that one. And see if I have any water that's kind of clean. That one's kind of clean. So I'm going to use my big wash brush here, and I'm going to get some spots wet. And then I'm going to dip one of my brushes in. I'll clean it first. It's in the blue water. We want yellow, not green. Okay. Now remember, the paper's wet, so the yellow is going to be, it's going to take the easiest path, so it's going to go in the water. Okay, and then we're going to get some clean water. And we're going to just push the color around. And we're also going to do some blotting so that we have some light spots and some dark spots, and so everything's not the same tone. Oh, thanks, Jean. And the other thing that's nice about having an experiment journal like this is, you know, if it doesn't turn out exactly the way you thought it would and it's not perfect, that's okay. This is a practice thing. So, you know, if you have one that you love, great. But if you have one that you don't love, you can just keep practicing it until you get it right. So now, there we go. There's our ladybug. So I'm going to dry it. Okay, so there's our ladybug. We're not quite done. And remember, when you're painting anything, whether you're using acrylics or watercolor, my favorite way to paint is to suggest the shapes and the features rather than actually draw them in. Number one, because my drawing never turns out exactly the way I want it to, and number two, it's more fun for me to suggest the shapes than it is to draw them, and to give the viewer something to have them put in with their own imagination into the art piece when they're looking at it. Okay, so now I want to add some stamps around the edge. Now the question is, what stamps? Should I use my stamps or should I use Patty's stamps? Because those are the two that I was undecided about earlier today. My stamps might be too busy for this. I don't know. This is the part that always takes me the longest. You guys never see that. Maybe a little bit of both. So Patty has this one from her set that I really like, and it's pretty simple. I like this border. It's a nice little border. I love this. And I don't want to do it. Usually I do black or brown. Let me see. Maybe I want to do green though. Ooh, a turquoise. I have this turquoise color. Maybe we'll do the turquoise. Oops, I kicked the camera, sorry. So I have, this is a Studio G stamp, and it's like I think it was turquoise, but I've contaminated it, but that's all right. It's sort of turquoise. So stamp in at least 3 places. That's my way of cleaning it, by the way. In case you didn't know. I'm not great about cleaning my stamps except to stamp them off on something. I think I want to do this one. So this is one of my stamps. This is one of my little flowers. And this is not about getting a perfect stamped image around the edge. This is just about adding texture and interest. And if it doesn't stamp perfectly, that's actually the best thing. And put it in at least 3 places, but do an odd number, 3 to 5. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And these are all of my stamps that I have currently right now on woodblock form. My sample set came on wood blocks. Oops. I'm going to move some stuff out of my way to do this next step and also to share something with you guys. Okay, so now I like to do splatters on here, and I like to use this, which is a kind of an ink made from Stabilo pencil shavings. So when I sharpen my Stabilo pencils in my Prismacolor sharpener, I save the I save the shavings. I put them in here, I soak them in water, and I get this like black inky stuff. And I put a little bit of glycerin in here so it doesn't mold or evaporate easily. And I'm going to use a fan brush. Because I like splattering with a fan brush, it's easy. And then really quick with my rag, if I get any of it in a place where I'm not so thrilled. There we go, I like that. And let's give it a dry. Yeah, sometimes I even throw my pencil shavings from my Inktense pencils in there too. When you sharpen your pencils, those pencils that the core is where all the pigment is, and it's water soluble. So instead of wasting it, I just throw it in my jar of water and make kind of an ink out of it. So normally I would just keep drying it, but y'all don't want to see me dry it. But there's our Ladybug. Cute, huh? I love that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, you don't want it to be perfect. And you definitely could do that to this too if you wanted. It's fun, but, you know, I encourage you to play with your watercolors. Here's the original Ladybug. Really fun. That was a fun one to do. So, so yeah, I like that. Earlier today I was working on some doodles. Let's see. Get my cards out here. Here we go. Okay. Earlier today I was working on some doodles. And so these may end up being in the next round of stamps. Sneak preview. And some of these shapes are specifically drawn in this shape for a certain reason. I'm not going to share right now, but here's a sneak preview. So I have a lot more to draw and a lot more ideas floating around in my brain. So I'm going to work on some more of those. For those of you who missed it, we have a hashtag now. I have a hashtag now, so it's Gina Stamps. If you buy my stamps and use them on a project and share it on social media, use the hashtag. That way I'll for sure find it and see it. If you want to buy the stamps, they're available in my Etsy shop. If you go to Etsy and search Gina B. Aarons, all one word, you should find it very easily. And if all else fails, go to ginabaarons.com, and there's links to my Etsy shop and a bunch of other stuff there, along with the colors I used in the original watercolor journal page of the Seascape that I did. This one. Let's see. Here we go. I documented all the paint colors and everything. The circle one is cool. That's a new one I just did today. Yeah. That's a new one I just did this morning. I did it right before I went on camera. And I'll be doing some more. I've got a bunch of ideas that rattle around in my head. I'm one of these people that my brain kind of never shuts off. Or I have trouble shutting it off. So doodling or reading are one of the things that kind of calm me down. So yeah. I have all these things in my head I want to try. But there definitely will be more rubber stamps. There's going to be at least one more set, probably more than that. I already have tons of ideas. And yeah, I want you guys to try this. I want you all to, you know, get some watercolor paper and, you know, a set of watercolors. They're not expensive if you don't already have them. And if you do have them and if you've been afraid to play with them, then I think you should give it a try. We have a few more minutes. I could do one more watercolor card for you all. Let's see. Oh, good. Yeah, the feather is the most popular one. One of the ideas we have for another set of stamps is to reduce it in size and a few of the others and make them ATC size. So you guys have to let me know if that's something that you'd all be interested in. So when I'm watercoloring, I frequently just wipe my brushes off on these cards and then I turn them into little kooky birds or something. I do have an idea though. Let's do it on this one though. Let's see, I need that flesh tone color I was using before. Can you leave a link to the... Yeah, I can leave a link. I can put it out on social media for you all. Not a problem. fact, I should probably see if I can link my Pinterest to my website. I just thought of that. I don't know if that's even possible, but I saw this the other day that Jane Davenport kind of did something like this where she painted like a basic silhouette, I think it was Jane, on a journal page in like watercolor. This thing gets hot. Okay, I gotta dry this before I can put a little face on here. I was gonna put a little face on here. Okay. Then get out these, and let's try this one. Let's do a quick face. I'm going to use purple because I like purple. This is an Inktense pencil. It's called Thistle. It needs to be sharpened. So the Inktense are also water soluble, just like obviously the watercolors. But when they dry, they're permanent, both the Inktense pencils and the Inktense blocks. If you want to learn more about drawing faces, there's a lot of really great tutorials out there and books and classes. Jane Davenport, of course, her book is one of my favorites. So. Jenny Billy has some great face drawing tutorials on YouTube and some classes. Tracy Bautista does also. My first journal pages didn't have any drawing in them. They just had backgrounds and quotes. If you guys have been watching my vlog, then you know that recently I have a tentative diagnosis of having anxiety disorder, which I totally was not really surprised by. And one of the things that's always calmed me down is art. But when it gets really bad, art doesn't work. So, but that's one of the reasons I do so much art. To activate some of the pencil, but I may not activate all of it. Meridel says, good job on that face. thank you. I have a very different style of faces than you have. I very much admire the style of face that you draw, Meridel. My sister Karen, who is a Crazy Island family member, has a similar style to Meridel, which I could probably do if I really tried, but it just doesn't make me happy. I have always been attracted to sort of the anime style. One of my first art teachers in school was a professional cartoonist, so maybe that's why. So far I've only got 2 colors on here. I've got this purple thistle color and the flesh tone watercolor in the background. And I did the basic sketch, and now, just like with other things that I do, I'm pushing the ink around from the Inktense pencil, using it to create the shadows, the highlights. I would probably add a little bit more. Here and here. Yeah, you should do the style that you enjoy with all of your art, not just your faces. But I agree. But if you guys have never seen Meridel draw a face, you should see her draw a face. She does a great job. Okay, so now we're going to dry that again. And then pick out the important features with a black pen. This is a black carbon ink pen from Amazon. It's a carbon pen. It has a refillable cartridge, and when it dries, it's permanent. And it has a really fine tip because it has a, you know, this kind of a pen tip on it. I can't think of the word right now. I don't know. So I'm going to give her a few eyelashes and darken her parts of her pupil. I'll give you all a close-up in a minute. A little bit between her lips, a little bit in the nostrils. Eyebrows. And a little bit in the hair. And they'll give the hair movement to have the black lines in there. I like that. So there you go. Oh, there you go. So the color of pencil was fountain pen tip. Thank you, Anne-Marie. That's it. Was Thistle. This is an Inktense pencil. This is Thistle. It's one of my favorite colors in the Inktense pencils, and the other one is dark aquamarine. And then I have teal green. These I like to do faces in these 3 colors. Takes a lot of courage to do your art live. Who said that? Live in front of us. Well, yeah, I guess so. I'm only human. I make plenty of mistakes. If I, you know, I feel like we're all friends, so what's the difference? So you could take a white pen or a white pencil. This is a white Stabilo pencil. I don't know if this is actually going to be white enough to work on here. No, it's not. Let's see. I'm going to try the gel pen. Thank you, AJ. I appreciate that. She says, that's nice, that's nice. Thank you. Heck, I've already shown all you guys my ugly faces. I got plenty of them. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to see my YouTube video that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's plenty of ugly faces on there. You know, none of my white pens ever seem to work. So I'm going to just get my Posca pen. My Posca pen always works. So the other thing you can do with a face like this is just put in some white highlights in the eyes. You can put a little bit in the lip, the bottom lip. You can put a little bit in the nose. You know where the ball of the nose is, where. And I would, you know, put a little bit in the hair. Give the hair some more movement with the white like you did with the black. Especially if you've drawn your girl with a dark color. And put a little bit down here, right here. See, there you go. Quick face. Just out of leftovers. Like when I have leftover paint, I always do something with it. I don't ever throw the paint away. So there you have it. And let's see. There is our info for those of you who didn't get it. And here are our 2 cards that we did today. I hope you all had fun. This is a lot of fun. I am going to be live on Ustream at least twice a month. Patty and I always seem to pick the same day, so we have to work on that. I have to work on that a little bit so I don't work doing the same day as her. Or just do earlier in the day or something. So I hope you all had fun. Go over and watch Patty's channel. She's probably still on and having fun. I'm going to go catch up with her. And it's also Friday night, so in my house that's pizza and beer night, so we're going to do that too. Alright, don't forget to go out and have a great day, everybody. Do something nice for yourself because you deserve it, and play with your watercolors because they're a lot of fun. Just do doodles. If, you know, when I first started, I just did doodly things. Now I can do seascapes, but I didn't start out being able to do that. Just practice and have fun with it. Alright? Alright, I'll see you all later. If you have any questions for me, you can message me over Facebook, or you can email me at artist@ginabaarons.com. I will post the link to the Ladybug on Pinterest in just a minute, as soon as I'm off the air. And I will see you all later. Bye.